Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, using some of the just released new products from the Simon Says Stamp Holly Jolly release, aka the November 2020 release. I absolutely had to use this stamp set that was released in collaboration. This was designed by Clever Girl Craftings. Her name is Lydia, and she designed this stamp set for Simon Says Stamp, and I just loved it. When I opened the package, this stamp set just jumped out at me. I think it is so cute. I love how inclusive it is. It is nice to see more products, more images, etc. coming out. I know we still have a long way to go, but yeah, love this little set. I wanted to use all the images, but I didn't have enough time. So I just chose a few and I lined them up inside my mini MISTI here. And then, because these are brand new stamps, people have asked me about this. A lot of times it's just habit. I rub my fingers on new photopolymer stamps. It just kind of helps kind of condition them a little bit because they're brand new. Brand new stamps do like to kind of repel ink a bit. And this little white unit here, that's just a whiteboard eraser. I picked up that tip from a recent Jennifer McGuire video, and I was talking about it in a recent video. And it just showed up and I was like, I'm gonna try it out. So far so good. I like it. So it just helps to kind of press down so you're not having to press much with your fingers, which I'm liking because as I'm getting older, I'm starting to notice that sort of thing. And it's like my hands hurt. Anyway, back to these images. They're absolutely adorable. So I stamped them onto Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock with Simon's Intense Black ink. And then I'm using Copic markers to do my coloring. And I'm doing the coloring method that I've shown in a couple more recent videos. This was something I did in September, and I've done it a few times in the past, but I picked it up from, and now my brain's up. Is it Bonnie? I think it's Bonnie from Art Impressions. It's kind of like that style of coloring and the style you see on the Art Impressions packaging, where there's not as much blending. It's more just you do one or two colors and then you do a sort of a harsher line of a shadow. And I've been experimenting with that a little bit more and more, and I'm really liking it. It kind of makes me think a little bit outside the box. So that's what I did for these images. I started with, when it comes to little people images, I always start with like the skin and the hair. It's just habit. So with the skin, I did use 3 shades of brown, and then the hair, I just used a couple. Everything else, I just used 2 marker combos. So just a lighter color and a darker color, and then just kind of guesstimated where shadows would go. Again, I don't follow, specific stringent rules when it comes to light sources and shading and all that sort of thing. However, force of habit over the last 15 years of Copic coloring, however long it's been, I kind of pictured my light source coming from the upper right. Just again, habit. So I just go in, I color one layer with the lighter color, and then I just quickly go in with the darker color and add a little bit of that depth, and that's it. So really simple and just cute. I don't know, there's something about it. So once I have all my little images colored, I took just a white gel pen, added little highlights. Again, not necessarily following any sort of rules or anything, just adding them wherever I thought they would look cute. And then I fussy cut these. There isn't a coordinating die set, but the fussy cutting took very little time. Simple images like this, quick and easy. So I fussy cut them and then set them aside. And then I pulled out the, this is the new Scattered Stars stencil, and I have some AUDREY blue cardstock. And I am taping the stencil to this cardstock with just some purple tape, washi tape would work, anything. I just wanted it to hold the stencil in place. And then I also used some of the tape to basically mask off the areas of the stencil that aren't covering the cardstock, just to minimize any paste getting where I didn't want it. And then I'm using my Nuvo Glacier paste in Pineapple Delight. So I've done other videos using these glacier pastes. They end up looking almost like it's like a faux foiling look, and love it. So I apply it with just a little spatula first, and then I use my little Therm, like my stencil buddy, to just scrape just a nice thin layer of this. And on that container there of the glacier paste in the lower left, that little piece of like cling wrap, that's just some press and seal. I've talked about that in videos as well. Any of my paste, but especially glacier paste, because these can tend to dry out really quickly, but my glitter paste, anything, any paste type product, I have a piece of press and seal on top of the container. That way, as soon as I'm done using it, I put all the product back in, seal it with the press and seal, and then put the lid on. This has extended the life of my paste big time. I've had all my glacier paste, like all the original colors, like they've come up with new ones that I've shown, but all the original colors I've had for well over a year now, and they're completely fine. So in my Tonic Rustic Rose haul video that is insanely long, like 40 some minutes, I have tons of tips of that sort in that video. So anywho, I applied the paste. That little bottom portion, I just used the stencil again after the initial stars dried. And then I just quickly used the stencil and applied a bit more paste to completely cover that. And then the other new product I used is the new 3D embossing folder. Simon came out with a bunch of them in this release. I'm going to do more videos using them. I haven't used embossing folders in forever, but I was pretty excited about these. So I have my embossing folder. I have my Platinum 6 machine. People have been coming up with some different ways to figure out how to work these with the Platinum, like the Spellbinders Platinum machines. My go-to like sandwich is the platform there, the embossing folder, because this is a 3D embossing folder, so it's very thick. And my paper off camera, I lightly sprayed with water. This is just regular, like this is actually just Neenah, more of that Neenah Classic Crest 80-pound cardstock. I lightly misted it with water. That just helps get a deeper impression. So I have the platform for the Spellbinders, the 3D folder with the paper, and then I have actually 2 metal shims here. But you could use just one metal shim, or you could use just a couple 2 to 4 pieces of cardstock. That would work as well. So just kind of whatever works, as long as you're not forcing it through. Like if your machine's not taking the sandwich, don't force it through. Just fiddle till you figure out what works for you. But this worked perfectly, and I got this gorgeous embossed impression I love, absolutely love. So that was the Lumen embossing folder. It kind of made me think of a blanket, so I thought it'd be really cute with these little images. So I also heat embossed a couple of the sentiments from this Rest Queen stamp set. Not only were the images cute, I loved the sentiments. I loved the style of the larger sentiments, just so many things. So anywho, I white heat embossed a couple on black cardstock, trimmed it down. And now I have a piece of Simon's Fog cardstock that I trimmed to 10 inches by 7 inches. And then I'm going to score this at 5. I am actually making a 5 by 7 card. I've had a lot of people asking me about that in this past year. I don't do 5 by 7 cards like ever. It's just not a size I tend towards for whatever reason. But I had the ideas with this card, and there were so many things I wanted to put on it. So I was like, I need a bigger card. So that's what I did. I created this 5 by 7 card, and then I've got my AUDREY blue piece here with those faux foiled stars with the Pineapple Delight glacier paste. I was just using my scissors there, just the little bits of paste that were kind of sticking over, like poking off the edge, just to trim those down. And then I have this piece of white cardstock that I 3D embossed with that Lumen embossing folder. And then for the layers of this, I'm going to adhere them with Simon's Big Mama foam tape, which is much thinner than standard foam tape. So I'm going to get my dimension, but it's not going to make this card super thick, but it just kind of pops things up. Just that little extra bit like I love. So I applied the embossed cardstock to that starry background with the foam tape. And then I've got all my little characters that I've cut and the little sentiment. Just kind of laying everything out, figuring out where I want everything to go. And then once I was happy with that, I'm going to pop the sentiment on with more of that foam tape. And then the other elements I'm just going to adhere down with craft tacky glue. And then I decided the little girl, I was going to pop her up with a bit of foam tape as well, just to give, again, that little extra bit of dimension, and also trying not to completely cover all of that embossed cardstock, because yeah, love it. all this like texture and dimension. It's just fun. So adhered that, and then the little moon and the stars I just adhered with the craft tacky glue. So once I've got those adhered, I've got my card base, which I got to finish the inside, of course. So I'm going to ink up the large Rest Queen sentiment, and I'm going to ink that up with Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink. And again, there's something about the sentiments. They just work. The images, the sentiments, everything. They're just adorable. So I'm going to ink that up with Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink, stamp that onto the inside of the card, and then I'm going to add that other little white heat embossed sentiment that I had heat embossed onto the black cardstock. So I'm going to add that. So it says Rest Queen, tomorrow is a new day. And then I can adhere my panel to the card base. So peel off all of the backing paper. This backing paper, since Simon reformulated it or whatever, this was a long time ago. It does peel off a lot easier, but my nails, this last month has been rough. My nails are just a mess, and they're like little stubs, so I can't peel off anything. So I just use the tip of my little Cutter Bee scissors. And that works for any foam tape, so it helps just to peel off the backing. So once I got that adhered into place, this card was complete. Today's video is actually part of a blog hop sharing tons of inspiration from this release. So I'll have more info about that in my blog post, which will be linked directly below the video. I will also have a supply list. I'll link to all the supplies I use, so you can check that out below if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching, for subscribing, thumbs upping, commenting, all of it. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye!